Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for September 2015. Go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video to see more about my current offerings. Also to sign up for my free email newsletter, which makes you part of my community, which brings you all kinds of perks. So what do we have going on in this doozy of an eclipse-ridden month? We have so much change for everybody, but specifically for Virgos, as one of those eclipses is in your sign. And this is still towards the beginning of a longish theme of eclipses in your polarity of Virgo to Pisces. So we've got to talk about Venus retrograde, we've got to talk about Mercury retrograde, we've got to talk about the eclipses, we've got to talk about birthdays. So let's start with birthdays. If you've been watching my horoscope since your last birthday, then you know that your birthday time is a magical time of possible manifestation. Every planet in the sky has a representation in our chart. They represent certain things, a spectrum of experience, and the sun represents our desires or what we want. So birthday wishes are astrologically based, and astrology does not get credit for most of the things that it is the basis for. There's things that people say or know about or that are like common knowledge, and those things are astrologically based, and astrology doesn't get the credit. But in any case, now you know that birthday wishes have to do with astrology, and this is because the sun representing the things you want means that when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point in the chart where your sun is, it creates a portal. It's like the merging of the energies of the sun, and it opens this portal where the universe is more receptive to your desires. So you have 10 birthday wishes. You write them down. You say them out loud. Most importantly, you feel them as if they're coming true. I can't overestimate the importance of this particular aspect of manifesting. This is the key to manifesting. The more you can feel something as if it's already true, the easier it's going to be to put the things in place that will clear the blocks, that will put you in the direction and into the fruition of your manifestation. So happy birthday to you, and I hope that that you have fun with making your birthday wishes, and that the highest good of all for all comes out of your desires. Okay, so now let's talk about, let's see. I'm going to talk a little bit more about birthday related things first. For the 4 weeks before your birthday, and if you listened to last month, I believe I talked about this then, 4 weeks before your actual birthday, you'll have the sun touring your 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of the unconscious. And the unconscious is where all of these, you know, things like would be in an attic, you know, dust and little creepers and, you know, scary things are in your unconscious. And when you have a big spotlight like the sun there, it brings fears and addictions and problems and patterns up right in front of your face where they cannot be avoided. It's like this huge spotlight on those things. So if you watch the rhythm of your life, you'll see that very often the 4 weeks before your birthday or the time leading up to your birthday, you feel a little funky. I was going through this for a long time before, and I was even studying astrology for a while before I realized that that particular experience was actually astrological. At some point I started to realize that in the month or so before my birthday that there was always some kind of crisis or something weird or something was going on that was like difficult, and then once it came time for my birthday it was like yay, and everything was all shiny again and just, you know, exciting. But that time right before was kind of difficult, and that's because the sun is in this 12th house. So this is purposeful by the universe. The universe wants to give you all of the tools and everything that you need to create the life that you want. And if you know where your blocks are, if you know what the problems are, and you do something about them, then the rebirth that happens on your birthday when the sun gets out of that 12th house and starts to light up your first house of rebirth and reinvention, then you can make positive steps in the life of your dreams, towards the life of your dreams. So if you do something productive with the things that come up from this time, then it's going to be part of the catalyst for launching you into this rebirth. So rebirth is exactly one of the themes of this eclipse for you. Most Virgos are going to experience this solar eclipse or huge opening of energy in the first house. And the first house is the way that you, well, it's actually the way that you go about doing things. So it turns out to be the way that other people see you. Your sun sign is more of of how you view yourself, and your rising sign is more of how other people view you. So which facet of this is going to be present for you depends on whether you're watching this with Virgo as your rising sign or Virgo as your sun sign. But in any case, all of this energy in your solar first house means that you have tremendous energy towards redefining yourself. If you have a certain image of yourself, people have a certain image of you. And in a lot of cases, for most Virgos that I know, people are in this image of they're hardworking, they're selfless, they're helpful, they're, taking care of everyone else's needs. One of my closest friends is a Virgo, and she takes care of, like, I don't even know how many rescue animals in her house at any given time. She works with the rescue. She's into politics, trying to help stuff with the community. She helps elderly people and people with disabilities, and she helps her friends, and she helps her family, and she's in her church, and she helps in her church. And she is like the epitome of this Virgo energy. And the more Virgo energy you have in your chart, the more this is going to be present. Without knowing your chart, you won't know how much Virgo energy you have. So if you don't seem to have a strong resonance with all of those things, you might just have a little bit of Virgo energy, like a little bit in your sun sign. That might be cuspy or something. But that is the quintessential description of Virgo energy, is everything that I just described. And so now at this time, she and you, everyone with Virgo, who importantly plays Virgo, has a chance to shift the nature of your energy a little bit more towards yourself. I know that sounds terrifying. I know you don't even know what to do with that, but the universe is going to help you to place yourself in a different level of importance than it had been in your previous world. And the messages that you get are going to be a theme for things to come, because the Pisces Virgo polarity of eclipses started this spring of 2015, and they run into 2017. So this is like a sub-story that's going on, and you're going to have more chances to get this right. Sometimes there's going to be an event from outside with someone close to you that drives you to focus more on yourself. Sometimes there's going to be a dissolution of a relationship or energy that you're putting into a relationship, which gives you more time to focus on yourself, whether you're looking for it or not. There's all different ways that this is going to look, but the energy is really closing off something having to do with either a way that you were into yourself in a self-indulgent way that wasn't serving you, or a way that you were focused on others in a way that was detracting from yourself. So it's kind of this tricky thing, because the lunar eclipse is happening on September 27th, and that is at 4 degrees of Aries. So the sign of the lunar eclipse, which closes energy, has completions, shuts things off, the sign of Aries is what the lunar eclipse is in. But the house of Aries is what the solar eclipse is in. So it's like part of yourself is being eclipsed out. Part of how you are in relationships are being eclipsed out in favor of a new opening in your house of yourself. So there's just so much energy on yourself. Closings, openings, key things with relationships, people close to you, and this whole new redefinition of what you're presenting into the world. So it's pretty exciting. Now, with all of that going on, remember that we have these retrogrades during September. So if you feel this new person ready to just crack out of the shell, and you see some clear pieces coming in on how you want to do that, don't launch them yet. Not in September, because Venus is still retrograde through September 6th, and the shadow period lasts until October 9th. So the whole month is cloaked in Venus retrograde energy. And if you haven't listened to the Venus retrograde video that I made, you definitely need to do that. Search on my channel, Annie Botticelli, Venus retrograde, because Venus rules love and beauty and money and business and design and aesthetics and all kinds of things. Most of the things that people confer with me about have to do with Venus related things. So you need to know about this transit. It happens once every 18 months. When it's in retrograde, there are certain very specific do's and very specific don'ts. And I go through all of them in that video, so definitely look for it. But just a quick summary, it's not good to make any life-altering decisions involving love or money. So you don't want to launch a business. You don't want to end a relationship if you're the one that's doing it. You want to reassess and maybe take space or ask questions, but you don't want to make a permanent decision while the retrogrades are happening. And then we have Mercury retrograde, which starts September 17th. The shadow period started August 29th. So August 29th through September 17th was Mercury shadow. Then September 17th through October 8th is Mercury retrograde. And then October 8th through October 24th is the post shadow period. I just did an updated Mercury retrograde video to go through all the do's and don'ts for Mercury retrograde because I don't have time to adequately cover all of the things involving travel and cars and devices and buying new things where you're not supposed to do that. And if you do, there's all these things you should pay attention to. So I just did a whole new Mercury retrograde video that I highly recommend you watch because I don't have time to address it here because we have to focus on the eclipses. So with all that being said, this is a second layer of energy that's not good for launching things. It's good for trying things on. Whenever you have a retrograde period, this is the time you want to go window shopping. You want to try things on. You want to try relationships on. You want to try ideas on. You want to try themes for a new website on. But you don't want to really make a commitment, if you can help it, to anything that's going to be hard to change. Now, you can be working on things in the backdrop that you can then launch at the end of October, and that is perfect use of the energy. But as this new energy is wanting to burst out of you, I just want to make sure you're not hasty. Some of you are going to actually experience this new opening rather than in your first house. Some of you later degree placements, later birthdays, you're going to have this happen in your 12th house, and this is a totally different energy. And that energy of coming and busting out is going to be happening later for you, and this time for you is a time to get quiet, is a time to be in sabbatical, is a time for meditation, is a time to focus on things of an esoteric nature. So you'll be able to see, it will be pretty clear if you're feeling like really like you want to cloister yourself and just have good quiet time, or if you feel like something bursting out of you ready to just explode with creation and manifestation. So that's going on, and then Mercury retrograde's going on, and then in general, the eclipses are not times to put things into action either, because they often come with a whoosh, sudden piece of news or sudden series of events that are going to radically transform your trajectory. That's very often what eclipses do. You're moving along a certain path, going along a path, the eclipse comes and goes, and you go, now you're headed up this way and diagonal into the side. It changes trajectories. So that's another reason, even if we didn't have the retrograde, September still wouldn't be a month to launch anything, because things you think you're about to do, it's going to radically change with a piece of information, or it might shift timing about something, or it might bring a time frame up closer, or it might put a time frame further into the distance. So you just want to watch and be like the spiritual ninja, just with full awareness of your periphery, front, side, back, top, and watch what's going on, watch the cycles, pay attention to how things feel, and avoid making commitments if you can. In general, it's difficult for people with strong Virgo placements to say no, and this is a long-standing story of codependency that is a big plague to humanity, period, but especially is highlighted in Virgo energy. Not being able to say no is a very difficult thing for you and for other people, because when you don't say no and you wish you did, then they wind up paying for it later, either through passive-aggressive energy that you don't display because you feel guilty about it. But this is a time where this huge shift is really starting to take foot in your life in a whole new way, where you can see how easy it can actually be to say no, and how much more you can give the things you say yes to when you say no to certain other things. So that's going to be another huge theme. So I can't see what's going on in your individual chart. That's always going to flavor these things tremendously. If you would like some assistance with that, go to my website, aspiritualspark.com, or click on the link below this video and see more about my personal coaching. Also look into my programs. I have all kinds of programs. I've got a webinar called Unleash Your Money Magnet, and I'm getting wonderful feedback from the participants in the first run of this that really use the tools. It's a 2-hour webinar that's chock full of all of these things that I've discovered over time that are super effective, and people are really seeing amazing results, and I want you to be one of them. So check that out, and also check out my Shine program, which is a 28-day virtual coaching program that has, and of course 28 days is a moon cycle, so it takes 28 days to make new habits and break old ones. And that's not a coincidence that I set it up that way, of course. So that's available on a sliding scale, and you can see that on my website. And definitely sign up for my free email newsletter. One of the perks you get is a write-up that I do for the month ahead, astrological highlights. I do an article that I send to my community, my email community, that helps to give you more insights into the things that are going on astrologically in the upcoming times. So I hope you have a wonderful month. Take care. Bye.